Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, families, friends of the graduates, other students at College of the Atlantic. I get to do a couple of things right now. The first is to give all of the prospective graduates their final exam. Would all of you stand? I got this right. Hands up in the air, thumbs together. Okay? So far, so good. Now, using the thumbs as a hinge, bring your hands together, down in front. Any of you who think you're worthy of a degree from College of the Atlantic may try it right along with us. All right, now take your right hand and turn it so the thumb is down. Okay? So far, so good. Now take your other hand and turn it so the thumb is down. Up, in, down, over. All right, ready? Turn it so that the thumb is down. Now turn your thumbs up. It's not brain surgery. In the 20th century, we've used this phrase as a way of saying that something wasn't too hard to do. Brain surgery is our symbol of a complicated task. As it turns out, that's all it is. It's just complicated. It requires highly developed skills and knowledge, but precious little understanding. The phrase, "It's not brain surgery," will exit the 21st century carrying the implication, it's just brain surgery, as opposed to the real challenges that we and you face together. In the 20th century, we have exercised great mastery over the complicated, and we have failed miserably at the complex. Complicated tasks are one-dimensional. They're just problems to be solved, like making a cell phone, and for some of us, using a cell phone, putting a human on the moon, drilling an oil well in the deep water of the Gulf of Mexico. These are just complicated tasks. Difficult, certainly, but not complex. And every time we have mastered the complicated, we've made the fundamental challenges more complex. Complex tasks are far more problematic and difficult. They involve multiple dimensions, each with massive degrees of uncertainty. They are not problems to be solved, they are challenges to be met. Achieving equality of opportunity, ensuring fair distribution of the wealth of our societies, feeding the hungry, educating millions of children, aligning our means of production and consumption so that our societies can be sustainable, eradicating poverty, controlling the use of violence. These are the fundamental, complex challenges of the 21st century. The mastery of the complicated all too often leads to a hubris, which makes these fundamental challenges even more difficult. The counterbalance to this hubris is community. And the roots of the community and the roots of community itself are in love and failure and forgiveness. At our very best, in every walk of life, our efforts will be replete with failure and mistakes. It is the community which allows us to be redeemed. Reinhold Niebuhr cautions us that nothing that is worth doing can be accomplished in our lifetime. Therefore, we must be saved by hope. Nothing we can do, however virtuous, can be accomplished alone. Therefore, we are saved by love. And no virtuous act is quite as virtuous from the standpoint of others as it is from our own standpoint. Therefore, we must be saved by forgiveness. Excellence and meaning does not produce community. It is community which enables excellence and meaning. And this is the lesson of human ecology. Thomas Cahill, in his wonderful book, Sailing the Wine-Dark Sea, referred to the difficulties in reconstructing the contributions of classical Greek culture to Western thought. The fragments I lay out for your inspection may not seem to fit well together, as if they were stray pieces from separate puzzles. In such cases, I counsel patience. There are moments when a large enough fragment can become a low wall. A second fragment, another wall to be raised at right angles to the first, a few struts and beams later, and we have made ourselves a rough lean-to in which to take temporary shelter. But while we're building the lean-to, the fragment we're examining may seem to be unconnected to the larger whole. It is only when we step back that we can see that what we have been assembling is something that can stand in the wind. So as you step forward, I encourage you also to take a moment and step back and look modestly and honestly at your own constructions. At first, they may seem rather pathetic. Part of a wall from John Anderson or Molly Anderson, part of a couple of glass bricks from John Visvader, some mortar, who knows what it's made of, from Bill Carpenter, a windowsill from Drew, a doorknob from Nancy, a keystone or two from Karen Waldron. But in fact, I suspect you will find that structure to be quite resilient because you have chosen the components for yourself, and you have put them together in ways that no one else ever has. I hope you have learned that there are likely to be flaws in that construction. Holes in your roof, cracks in your walls, faults in your foundation. There will be times when you are tempted to demolish the whole thing and start over. That confusion, approaching bewilderment, is something you must feel in order to learn. As you seek meaning in your life, you will need two kinds of courage. The first is the courage to keep what sometimes seems to be a hopelessly inadequate intellectual hovel. Salvaging here and there, shoring up somewhere else, and still continuing to build your own, even though the prefabricated components offered by others may offer more comfort. The second kind of courage is to actually tear it down, to tear down what you have built and to start over. And the wisdom that we all seek is to know the difference. And with that, I would offer a toast. You will never know. Just keep wondering. It is now my pleasure to introduce Rachel Heasley to give the students welcome to this afternoon. Rachel.
I'm not telling.
Sorry.
Thanks, David.